This episode of The Challengers was recorded on May 28th, 2020, just 3 days after George Floyd, an unarmed Black man, was murdered by police in Minnesota. We touch on that topic towards the end of the show. We'd also like to take this opportunity to state that The Challengers stands in solidarity with Black Lives Matter. Thank you for listening. Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of The Challengers. As many of you know, The Challengers is a podcast that I host where I talk to people who have experienced surprising, often unwelcome challenges in their life, and then talk to them about what happened next. The conversations which you should listen to, wherever you listen to podcasts, are often brutally honest, intelligent, revelatory, and very soulful. This evening will not be any of those things. This evening, I have asked my dear friends, the Private Practice cast and some of the crew, to join me on The Challengers. And here's the tie-in. We love each other dearly, and there's been some questioning from you all about, like, can you guys get together? We can, we want to, we adore each other. But also, I will say, the way that this is connected for me is during these extraordinarily challenging times. And I don't care where you are, what your situation is, we are all being challenged by the same thing. What keeps me sane and gives me hope and honestly helps me get through the day is contact with people I love. And so that's what we are going to experience tonight. We are also raising money for an amazing charity called No Kid Hungry. So there's going to be some information about that. And so hopefully by coming together, we actually help each other out as well. So without further ado, here is the Private Practice cast who is joining me today in no particular order. Mr. Brian Benben, who played Sheldon Wallace, I think. Ms. Audrey McDonald, who played Naomi Bennett. Katie Strickland, who played Charlotte King. I want to make sure that I get everybody right. Caterina Scorsoni, who played Amelia Shepherd. Paul Edelstein, who played Cooper Friedman. Ms. Kate Walsh, who played Allison Forbes Montgomery. And a very special guest, Sergio Lopez-Rivera, who is actually the head of our makeup department and our really dear friend. And he's going to be hanging out with us and also moderating some of the questions that you sent in. So, welcome. I adore you guys so much. I feel like some of us saw each other at the Emmy party, right?
Mm-hmm. I missed it. I didn't see you guys. I was sad. I saw the pictures.
Sad. Audra, I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Since LA. Since I saw you in LA a couple years ago.
I had dinner with you once.
We did in New York. Yeah.
Before you had your baby.
That's right.
And then you guys had babies at the same time.
That's right.
Yeah.
We had babies at the same time. Caterina and I did. Yeah. Yes. That's right. Not at the same moment.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Is it the same father?
I have babies like once a year, so the likelihood is I was one of the people having a baby at the same time.
You have procreated a lot. Audrey, you procreated some. How is your baby who's not a baby?
Me? My baby? Yeah. Oh, my baby is 3, and I gave birth to me, and that is
really?
that's a lot of energy. And
wow!
Now that I'm
that's amazing.
She is kicking my butt. Oh. She's amazing, but I'm almost 50 and I have a 3-year-old and we're in quarantine. That's all you need to know. She's amazing though. She's absolutely amazing. Quarantine parenting is no joke. It is not for the faint of heart.
Brian Ben, how's your
Yes,
it's Stone Cold Fox.
Yeah. How are you, Ben?
We're mixing up hand sanitizer in the bathtub upstairs.
Along with the gin in the bathtub
to drink.
Now, where was your daughter? Where is she now?
She's here with us.
She's here.
Oh, she's studying for LSATs for law school.
Oh.
If there is going to be school, there's going to be school. I don't know.
Katie, how are you guys? How are you doing?
You know, He's going to be 7. So his awareness of everything is so massive and so connected. And we didn't use screens except for the weekends. So that kid has gone from 0 screen to screen all day.
Yeah.
And it was a family event to sit and watch a movie on a special occasion, or to like do cartoons and curate them. This isn't curated. This is, you get an assignment with a storybook being read on YouTube, and then he's looking in the margins going, what is that? Commercials for the first time. Like it's
wow,
antithetical to everything that was a tenet of our family. It's a Challenger episode.
It's hard, right? It's hard the questions are hard, and the when is hard, and then if you have somebody or a kid who just thinks that way anyway, and then here we are.
Processing it and not bringing it into your home, and literally not bringing it into your home, and stripping your clothes at the door and hoping your neighbors didn't see your butt through the window because you had to literally change and spray yourself. I never used chemicals. We didn't have a chemical household. It's like and now I've literally sprayed my body with 409. I mean,
I feel like that was an episode that Shonda wrote. No, wait, that was whipped cream or something, or no?
Yeah, was responsible for that. Yes. 409
cake frosting. Cake frosting.
I've been starved for human contact in a certain way, and also yours is so specific to me. And you bring me back to a time of such creativity, and we were on top of each other in such a loving environment. And that psychology right now is very, I find, hard for anyone to kind of grasp that I've talked to.
Well, no, it's true. Like we are puppies in a box, you know, we are physical, and, you know. How old was your tiniest one, Caterina, when you guys had to go inside?
She was like 12 weeks old when this whole thing started.
Wow.
But it's fine. I mean, I feel like for me, I have so many children that I just kind of like entered a fugue state, and I just kind of like wake up when the sun hits the window, and there's like babies everywhere, and I just like juggle them. They wander in, I change a diaper, and then I like give a boob to one, and then another one has like Zoom meeting, and if you stop, you may fall over and never wake up again.
Oh my God.
How is it? Is the lockdown different in LA where you guys weren't allowed to leave your houses?
No, it was always like food and
yeah. I mean, I think it was suggested. It was strongly suggested that you didn't leave the house, but it was never enforced.
Hey Walsh, how did you mean to be in Western Australia for the quarantine?
I came here to visit friends, and I got stuck. But it's not a bad place to be stuck. But I did sort of escape New York, I felt.
Yes.
I got out under the wire. Like I left on the 12th of March.
Ooh.
And I wasn't even sure. Like while I was in the air, everything started changing because I had a layover in Doha and everything was shut down. And I didn't know if I'd be able to get in through customs, but it was fine. But 2 days later, it had all been shut and quarantines were in place. I would have had to quarantine for 2 weeks, or probably been sent home. Who knows? But it's also was weird to come, and it started off as a holiday, and then it's like full on lockdown. And the lockdown here, they did a great job. There's 0 cases now, but they had it was lockdown. Even now you can't travel within the states of Australia, but they had you couldn't travel city to city. Everyone was sort of in this weird, terrified pandemic mode. So I got here, it was like a ghost town, and no one, and God forbid they hear you from New York because they think you're patient 0. Like, they think it's like zombie apocalypse. And but now everything is opening up. But it was really intense because, I mean, my Derek, my longtime coworker and assistant, we worked together for 10 years, and he almost died. He was in the hospital for 27 days and literally almost died.
What?
Yeah, he got hit really badly. He was like 12 people at a dinner party. They all got sick, but he ended up in the hospital fighting for his life and is recovering now. He's
how long was he ventilated? Intubated. Sorry.
He was only on a ventilator during surgery when they had to put a tube in his lung and clean out his lungs.
Wow.
But thank God, that would have been, I think the ventilators are not great. I think they exacerbate the problem. But yeah, 27 days. No one.
Did he have a cytokine storm?
Huh?
Isn't that the whole thing now? It's like the inflammation happens and then there's a cytokine storm and everything goes nuts with your immune system.
I don't know, because I just played a doctor on TV, so I don't know. It was like a war zone, Lenox Hill Hospital. We were sending food and to the nurses. He wasn't even getting fed half the time. Like literally waiting 9 hours for a meal. Like it was just crazy town. Like unbelievable what was happening.
Do you feel that, Audra, where you are, or you're in your town, right?
Well, I was working in Brooklyn. That's where we were shooting our show, and it was starting to get really dicey, on set, because more and more people were dropping, not on our set, but in everybody's sort of like circles. We were hearing about, another person. So it went from, from us, they were saying one day it was like there was Purell everywhere. The next day we couldn't, the catering changed, on the crafty changed, everything was wrapped up, and it was like basically only processed foods for a while, just because they couldn't, couldn't share anything. The day that CDC started issuing these social distancing sort of guidelines, we were freaking out on set going, how do you social distance? How do we keep working? So we were all starting to shout, please, somebody, and everybody was afraid to be the first one to shut down. I think that's what was going on.
Yeah, of
course. But then
our
showrunners, Robert and Michelle, were really compassionate, and they were really listening. And so they pulled the plug first, and then everything, like our plug got pulled, I think, like on the 11th of March, and then like by 3 o'clock that afternoon, they made the call for Broadway, and I feel like everybody got sent home sort of the same day. Actually, that's not true. My husband was rehearsing a show. He was rehearsing a show, and their show went for like 4 more days because they were going to perform in a theater that had less than 500 people. And so those like off-Broadway shows were thinking they could still keep going, and they're trying to figure out how to rehearse 6 feet apart. And then cast just said, as we started hearing about Broadway casts starting to go down, ran through Broadway.
That was gnarly.
So many of my friends have gotten it, and some haven't made it. Some have recovered. Some are still struggling. And then I had to go up and get my kid from college.
Where is she, Audra?
She's at Brown, and they shut down. And so everybody had to, and that felt weird too. We had to run up and get our kids. You see, it was like, when you were moving them in, all these parents descending to pick up their children who were not social distancing. When I finally moved my daughter out of her dorm, I was gloved up, and then she got in the car after crying and hugging all her friends, and I sprayed that girl down. I was like, yeah. And her her roommate is from New York. And her roommate's entire family got sick. I mean,
Really?
It has been a war zone here. I mean, it really has been, which is why, thank God we have our governor's good. You guys have a good governor in California, taking this seriously, because we're seeing it. I feel bad for the people in states whose governors aren't taking it seriously, because it's coming.
It's so, it's to have the intensity, like I'm understanding a little bit, and obviously we have a president who politicizes everything, even in fact, even truth, so we should be used to that, and yet it's always jaw-dropping to me. It's like, it's not like I heard on the radio, it's like, well, I don't wear a mask because it just sends a scary message, and I want to be hopeful. It's like, it's biology, dum-dum. It's not an opinion.
The message you sent is, I care about you, and I'm wearing this mask for you.
Exactly.
Because I'm not wearing this mask for me. I'm wearing this for you, and you should be wearing one for me. And that's the end.
Okay, we're gonna we're gonna jump into fan questions.
Awesome.
That's an easy
All right.
segue there.
So I've gone through all these questions that I have, and some of them are very,
like
very similar. So I'm just gonna.
Thousands.
Wow, really?
Yes, too many. Anyway, what your biggest fans really want to know is what is your best memory of working on the set of Private Practice, or memories of working together, and if you had a favorite season, which I think is really hard to do because I don't remember season 3 from season 1. But anyway.
No, I don't know. I think probably my fondest I was even anticipating this. I was thinking, oh, I don't know what I would do without all of you guys. Like, I was like, thank God I was surrounded by really good actors. I was like, I wasn't meant to be this wasn't meant to happen. So I was really happy to be working. Well, I guess also I was really excited to work with Paul Edelstein because we went so far back in Chicago. Remember, Paul? I was very like, oh my God. Because we used to wait tables together.
Okay, I know that you guys worked in a restaurant together. Did you meet at the restaurant?
No, she got me that job.
She got me that job too. She got me that job.
They got us all employed.
Okay.
Did we? Yeah, but that was like, I think just being with everybody. I mean, the group scenes were always awesome. I could say the kitchen scenes, but all of it. That also the makeup trailer was a very fun.
Oh my gosh.
I wanted to. We could play about that makeup trailer. Remember, Sergio? That was the best way to start and end the day.
Yeah, that I take that. That is the highest compliment that any of you could ever give me, is the fact that I could create a team and a space where you guys felt good. That's my job, and I take it very seriously. So I'm happy that it all worked out.
I want to say, I think one of the reasons, I mean, there are so many reasons that you are the head of makeup of all of Shondaland. One is that you make everybody look heavenly. It's so gorgeous.
Thank you.
Despite the long hours. But also, I think everybody here knows, like, the makeup trailer is really, I think, I mean, there's the lead of the show and there's the showrunners, but the makeup trailer is where every day it kind of sets the tone for how people feel on set and how people are treating each other.
That's where everybody comes in with their shit and they go out for the day.
I have an awesome trailer memory. There was during the era where you were working so hard, Kate, and maybe in a clinical depression, but you were coming to school in your pajamas. And remember, Audra, we all had black Priuses, and I can't remember what you were driving, but you and I parked next to each other, and it was a super early call. It was like 5 a.m. I'm like already in the chair, and you come in and you're like, okay, you're like, you know what? I was just listening to, I can't remember. It was like I was listening to the Beatles, or I remember it was something classic. And you said that, and the good news is that, like, I felt so released. It was so great. And you know, the not so good news is, I scratched your car.
I forgot.
Oh my God, I totally forgot.
Years later, I was like, oh my God, I was like the mom, and she was like the kid with the baseball track. You know, like she had to think of how she was going to present.
Lead in.
And I was like, oh, it's so great. I know you've been tired. I'm glad you had a moment. Oh, the point of this actually is that
That is amazing. That is amazing.
I was going to say our producing director's name was Mark Tinker, for you fans out there, meaning he oversaw all the directors and he directed a majority of the episodes in any given season. And we always said that Tinker was dad and Sergio was mom. Like, we always kind of like had this, like, we were children, and there's no question about it. Like, we needed guidance, we needed love, and we needed a little maybe shaping.
And herding. We needed herding too.
We needed some herding, and we had dad and we had mom.
Yeah, basically, I would crumble into tears in the makeup chair, and Sergio's like, don't worry, we're going to fix it. And he'd come into my trailer and patch it up. And then Tinker would knock on my trailer, like, get the fuck to sleep.
It looks like you're fucking crying. Is that a fucking crying?
Like, got him in like a highly codependent, toxic
I'm like, now you've just made it worse.
Oh yes. Oh my God. What happens in the makeup trailer is it's great because you have to be so aware that there's many different personalities and many different people that are having many different kinds of days and all, so you kind of have to be very sensitive about that, right? Actually, this is a funny question for Kate that I really liked. Is from Maddie Winningham. She asks, did you actually like the green juice? I feel like you must have hated you must hate it now because every time Addison went to the fridge, she got her green juice. Do you hate the green juice, Kate?
Yeah, I don't drink it. I don't drink at all. I drink celery juice now. I don't drink that. Why did I choose that? I think it was
your character. We were building a character.
Yeah.
It was just a layer that you added.
I need props. That's what that's about.
Melody wants to know from Twitter. Wants to know if did any of you keep things from your wardrobe or any or other sentimental sorts of items?
Yep.
The answer is yes. Contractually, they can't say yes, but the answer is yes.
I have been through this once before on Judging Amy. So, and we had fabulous clothes on Private Practice. So the minute I heard, I went to Linda Bass. I was like, she literally said, take whatever you want. I was like, yes. I had to hold myself back.
Linda Bass onto the bus.
And then, and then by the time, I think it was KD, I was like, yeah, go ask her. But in the 4 hours, obviously ABC had called Linda Bass and said no, they can't have the clothes. But I have a lot of stuff. I do.
I also have a lot of stuff.
By the way, I would never wear those shoes, those crazy high. I don't wear. I look at them now, my bunions just howl in pain. I'm not. They kind of howled in pain then too, but we all wore those freaking high heels.
Right? Yeah, I took my wedding dress from when Naomi and Sam got married for the second time.
You guys remember though? Do you remember always in scenes we would ask our scene partners if they're going to wear their acting shoes or could we wear our flats? Remember, because to keep continuity for height. So are you going to wear? Can we just all agree to wear flats now?
Especially, and also, it's where's the shot? And then I'd watch Kate in her fabulous pencil skirts, after lunch, unzipped,
our faces would drop and the belly would extend, which also.
Hey, you were responsible for the chip addiction that I started because you were always eating chips. And it made them look so good that I went on a whole chip addiction that went on for
kettle chips with the pepper and the salt. The real pepper and salt chips. Yes.
She
made it seem like it was healthy for us, and so we all just. You're welcome.
I have a quick question from Monique, who wants to know if you had the option of playing someone else's character within this group, would you wanted to play another character, even for let's just say one day?
I would kind of want to play Sheldon just to pretend I was as dry and funny as Brian, but I don't think I would pull it off. You had the driest. You were like the Sahara over there.
Amazing.
You also, wasn't there a story? I was sleeping with two people, but weren't you sleeping with two people? Were we both sleeping with him, Katie, or no? You were. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's do one more question.
Okay. Well, this question comes from my husband, actually. In moments of chaos like this one that we're living through, how do each of you tap into your gratitude?
I go outside.
Yeah.
You go outside. I love it.
That's if I don't, it's very difficult for me. I know that if myself, it literally recalibrates you, I think.
I'm not kidding. I talk to the flies. I'm literally hey guys, what's up? Yeah. Me.
I talk to my vegetables in the vegetable garden.
Guys. I've been talking to my plants too.
Yeah.
I tell them my favorite. I'm like, you're my favorite. You're my favorite.
Okay.
Caterina, what were you going to say?
Just that we started a thing, I guess around the time when quarantine started, where just before dinner we do rock, paper, scissors, and whoever wins the rock, paper, scissors tournament gets to start their gratitude list. And so we go around the table and
that's great.
3 things that we're grateful for. No, we get to name 3 things that we're grateful for. And we just go around the table, and it kind of is a good end to the day.
Yeah. Stephen and I Steven and I do that. We hold hands when the lights are out and we're already in bed with our eyes closed, and we hold hands and we just say one thing, just one thing, and it really does help. It helps a lot. It could be as simple as, he always makes me laugh. So just as simple as, I'm just grateful I am with someone who makes me laugh. Period.
I think it's like proven neurological benefits to being, before you go to sleep, to have make a list of what you're grateful for. So your subconscious, you're going into it, you put the screens down and go into your sleep with good vibes.
Does anybody else want to say what they do, Audra?
We're doing with the baby. We talk about our day, and she talks about it in terms of, she says, "Oh, my dream of the day was," and so we talk about what was her favorite thing that happened that day. The other day we had a really beautiful moon, and we were looking at it, and I was with my husband and the baby, and I said, "Oh gosh, you can wish on the moon." So Will said, "Daddy wishes for that his kids are all happy and healthy and that they have a lovely life." And I said, "Oh, I wish for, such and such and such." And then Sally said, "I wish that I'm the most beautiful."
Oh my God, I feel like I just gave myself what I needed, which was time with you guys. What I find hard, and especially hard this week, and I know that this is a bigger spiritual practice question, but when my world is okay, and I have shit go. My mom fell a month ago, and she's almost 94, and I call it hospice, but today she's not in hospice, but tomorrow, so it's not like I'm immune. But I'm also really grateful for, there's just a lot of love, and my brothers and I are coming together, but the outside world is suffering. It's hard. It's hard.
That's a hard thing too, to in the beginning, I thought this might be the first time in the history of my life that everybody in the world understood something. There's a commonality to consciousness right now where people have to respond. Everybody's grieving.
I agree with you, and I think even the people that I personally, for instance, am angry at, who are like, "I'm not going to do this," and which I have a problem with that, but they are actually responding to the same thing I'm responding. We're all having a response to this thing that hopefully something that can come of that.
But Kate, you're in a place where they're past it. Does Australia feel like that's in the past?
All right, I was just thinking, plus abject inherent systemic racism, which is a whole sorry, I'm not actually. I am, but that, you know what I mean. That's I do feel like that has an impact to keep shining a light on it wherever we can in that way. I don't know.
I'm just saying the internet is at the very least, as far as systemic racism is concerned, what people of color, especially African Americans, have dealt with and known for forever. Right. We now have, whereas people can say, "Oh, well, that's never happened to me," or I don't understand what you mean, that kind of interaction. I remember being in a room with a bunch of people who were not Black except for me, and they were all saying, "So how, okay, what's the easiest way you've ever gotten out of getting a ticket from a cop?" And I as I was just listening to all the stories, and I was like, guys have no idea. Do you know what I mean? But at least we now have proof. And not that we need proof for ourselves, but we can now go, yes, this is real. Do you see it? Yeah. And so that's where the internet, I think, is doing some good. You guys, I am so sorry, but it is closing in on midnight.
We're going to wrap it up, baby. We are going to wrap it up. I adore
I don't want to. I miss you guys.
Love you, Ames.
So good to see you.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Bye, guys.
Stay safe, everybody.
Be safe. Mama. Katie, Brian.
Bye, you guys.
Oh. Bye, guys. I just said goodbye to myself.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
So thank you, everybody, for coming on the show and for being my friends. And thank you to the fans who have kept these characters alive with your love and your dedication. And thank you to Ms. Shonda Rhimes, who birthed them in your vast imagination. And I also want to remind you to support No Kid Hungry, which is the charity that we are supporting. And it's a way for us to come together during quarantine and make sure that we're all okay. So thank you so much for listening, and stay safe, be well, and we'll see you at the next episode of The Challengers.